So, Rayka, you just earned your first Oscar nomination for your documentary short, Period, End of Sentence. This film is, it's very important from a subject matter perspective. Tell us just a little bit about how the film got started and what inspired you to make it.
Well, I would say the story found me. So I think it's a really special project because of sort of all the things that happened in the background before I even came on board to direct the film. I was approached by one of our producers, Garrett Schiff, who is the father of Ruby Schiff, who is one of the original high school girls, from Oakwood High School, who was part of this club. And in this club, along with their English teacher, these girls decided that they wanted to tackle this issue, this worldwide issue of women and girls who are dropping out of school because of their periods and because of a lack of access to sanitary hygiene products. And so Melissa Burton, who's also one of the producers on the film, she basically started this whole movement after she learned at the UN's Commission on the Status of Women conference about this issue, and also that there's a solution that's been put in place by an Indian man named Mr. Muruganantham, who has invented this low-cost sanitary pad-making machine to install in rural areas to start making sanitary pads and to empower women in these areas. And so basically Melissa and the whole club, they said, you know, we want to purchase a pad machine, install it in a village in India, and we want to make a film about this because it's ultimately going to be the best way to spread awareness about this issue. And I had literally just graduated from USC Film School. Like, it hadn't even been more than a week. And so I got this call and I learned about this issue, and I was really deeply moved and shocked to hear that this was something that was going on for so many women around the globe, and that I had no prior knowledge of it. And I really felt like this is activism at its finest, you know, and I'm a young woman myself. I was only 23 when I started making this film, and the group of women behind this film as well were also 16, 17 years old, and they served as executive producers on the film. So it just felt like a really cool kind of grassroots thing and a really great opportunity as a filmmaker to expand my horizons and to, you know, to help start and, you know, kickstart this whole movement.
What's fascinating is that, you know, even in this modern age that we live in, you know, the subject of female menstruation is something that is still very uncomfortable to talk about. I mean, even in this country where, you know, we have easy access to hygiene products, there are still people who are just, you know, get red in the face even talking about it.
And I said,
not
anymore. Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, I guess, what was it like going to a place like, you know, where you went to in India, where, you know, not only is it hard to talk about, but there aren't even, you know, the products that are readily available in this country are not even produced there.
Right. It almost feels like you just walked it. You opened the door into another world that you didn't even know really existed. I mean, I grew up in a very kind of open household where my family was always sort of, you know, trying to get me to speak openly about any type of issue that I was dealing with. And even I was really deeply embarrassed and shy about my period. I remember, like, just 6 months before I started, you know, I was approached to make the film, I was trying to buy a box of tampons at like a train stop. And there was like a male shopkeeper, and I was like mortified. I was just like trying to buy this box of tampons and get out as quickly as possible and never talk to the guy again. And that was me being raised in a really kind of open Iranian family, and like living in Southern California and Los Angeles, where I think we're a lot more open about some of these issues. And then going to India, it was just absolutely mind-boggling. I mean, we would talk to women who had gone their entire lives menstruating and couldn't tell us why exactly they were menstruating. They couldn't tell us what it meant to menstruate. They thought that there was something inherently wrong with them. And then to see young women who had started menstruating for only a couple of years, and to learn that this was the first time they were ever talking to another human being about it was with us on camera. And so you can imagine, just as a filmmaker too, how challenging that can be, because, you know, going in rural areas with a film crew is already really challenging. But to talk to these subjects about something that is so deeply taboo and so shameful to them is just, I think, on a whole other level. So, we dealt with a lot of difficulties there. But I think, if anything, it just really made me realize how absolutely essential and timely this project is, how important it is that we make this film right now, and that we start this conversation right now, because I found that really it was conversation that started to change the way people were thinking.
Right. I mean, you you mentioned this being like a grassroots thing with you and a lot of other women behind the camera, and I guess one of the great qualities about this movie is that it is also about a grassroots kind of organization led by women. Taking this
Right.
into their own hands.
Right. And that's the coolest thing, is like a group of high school girls starting this movement, a first-time documentary filmmaker, fresh out of film school, making this movie, and then women in India for the first time starting their own business, making sanitary pads. So all of it is kind of so fresh and new, and I can't say that all of us really knew what we were doing. So we were sort of all just putting our hearts and our minds together to really put this cause and this issue forward. And I think that's why the film has so much, the film and the story and the backstory, all of it, it really has so much heart. And I really think it's been really effective so far.
You mentioned this being your first documentary. I mean, you have made some shorts before, at least according to IMDb. Was it a giant leap for you, stylistically, or I mean, was there a learning curve for you in terms of moving into documentaries?
I was actually really surprised once I was making the film, with Sam Davis, who is my creative partner. He was the DP, editor, co-producer, sound designer of the film. So yeah, I think the both of us, because we had only done like narrative projects together, it was both of our first documentary, and I think we were both really surprised while we were knee deep in making the film. I think, after we shot it and we're editing it, just realizing that it didn't necessarily feel like it had to be so different from the narrative process. Of course, I think during production, it's really important to let go of things and to not be so precious. You can prepare as much as you want, but you have to know and be comfortable with the fact that the second you start filming your subjects, like, all of that preparation can kind of go out the window, because ultimately this is where you are, and these are the people that you're following, and these are the people that will be giving you the truth that you need to share with the world. So that was something I definitely learned throughout the process. But as far as like constructing the film, even in the edit, it felt like we were outlining based on the footage that we had, and sort of thinking about characters and thinking about a story arc, and we were thinking about how this all compares to really the reality that we were able to capture. And the great news for us was that it was really in sync with the reality that we were able to capture. So for me, it felt kind of like a seamless transition. And I think any type of narrative work that I've done in the past has definitely been rooted in some sort of social activism. So for me, it felt right. And I definitely would love to make more documentaries in the future.
You mentioned letting the people be the guide you. Yes, thanks.
Yeah.
Can you just talk a bit about some of the relationships you cultivated with these women?
Just incredible relationships. The crazy thing is, we don't speak each other's language. Like, I don't speak Hindi, they don't speak English, and yet there was such a deep and intimate connection and bond. I think it's just being human and being a woman, from woman to woman, where I was there every step of the way, and I was sitting in all the interviews and trying to speak with our interpreter and kind of mold and shape these interviews. But ultimately, I didn't know exactly in real time what was being said, but I could feel it. I could feel the fear when we would go to that place, when we would start talking about menstruation. I could feel the reluctance and the unwillingness to go there. I could feel the moments of pride that I would, see in the women's faces after they started working on the machine and earning their own wages. All of this was, I think, so powerful. And part of me almost, I think, embraced the fact that we didn't speak each other's language. Because there was really a much deeper connection that was there. And I'm just so incredibly proud of these women and just so proud of them because of what they've had to deal with and what they've had to face their entire lives. I can't imagine if you're so afraid of your period, the thing that makes you a woman, that gives us strength, I can't imagine what else you would be afraid to do. And to go out there and to be so bold and to start your own business and to go out in the roads and start talking to other people about this product and to bring village elders and men into the room to make pads, it's a really profound thing. And I just have the utmost respect for them, that they were able to start this whole thing.
And out of this came the PAD project. Can you just talk a bit about that?
Yeah, so the PAD project is the nonprofit organization that was started once we launched the film, and actually a lot of our producers, including myself, are board members for the PAD project, and it serves as a resource to ultimately share information about this movement for anyone who is looking to get involved, to start conversations about menstruation anywhere around the globe, as well as for people who are looking to donate so that we can get more funds to install more pad machines worldwide.
Were you surprised by your Oscar nomination, and what did that mean for you to get nominated?
I think we were all very surprised. We've had kind of a long film festival run, and it's been great. We've just been momentum building nonstop. So I think, like I said, all of us had put our minds and our hearts together, and we didn't necessarily know what we were doing. We just kind of followed our guts and figured it out along the way. So it's always really, really nice to see that your work is being recognized to this extent. And also to know that this whole movement can blow up so much bigger, and that now we have the chance to blow it up so much, to have such a wider reach, because we're on the world stage with the Academy Awards, with Netflix now distributing our film. And we're really seeing just this incredible wave of positive reactions around the film. And it just goes to show that I think people are really, really hungry for these conversations.
And what are you working on right now? Anything you can talk about?
Yeah, so I just worked on a short documentary for the Special Olympics. Also another cause that I'm very invested in, and I love the organization. And then in addition to that, I'm developing a narrative feature film because I'm Iranian American, and it's sort of about my Iranian family ultimately immigrating to the United States in the early 90s. And there's another documentary feature idea that I'm developing, but cannot talk about just yet. But I'm very, very, very excited about it because this has been my first experience with documentary, and I'm just seeing how incredibly powerful documentary filmmaking can be in helping affect change around the world.
Well, congratulations once again. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Appreciate it.